Hello, this video is just to help you remember what we took in the math lesson today. Simplifying fractions. Today's lesson was all about simplifying fractions and how to get a fraction or to put a fraction in the simplest form. We got 5 questions here that we're going to do together, just to remind you of what we took today in class. The first question here is 4 over 18. 4 over 18, it's a fraction. Once I look at it, I just know that this is not in the simplest form. And how did I know that? Because the first question that I should ask myself is, in which times table can we find the numerator and the denominator? So here I have the numerator is the top, the number here on the top, and the denominator is the 18. So here we have 4 over 18. In which times table can we find 4 and 18? If I try, for example, the 5 times table, of course, no, because 4 is not in the 5 times table and 18 is also not in the 5 times table. So, some of you might say that 4 and 18, both of them are in the 2 times table. Exactly. So, what I'm going to do after determining which times table both of them are in is dividing them by that times table. So, dividing them by 2. So, knowing that 4 and 18 are in the 2 times table helps me simplify this fraction. So I'm going to divide the numerator and the denominator by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 18 divided by 2 is 9. And this is the simplest form. That's it. How do I know that this is the simplest form? Because if I ask myself the same question here, in which times table can I find the 2 and the 9 together? No, this is impossible. 2 is in the 2 times table, but 9 is not there in the 2 times table, so that's it. This is the simplest form. The second question that we have over here is 16 over 40. The numerator is 16, the denominator is 40. If I try to simplify this, I have to ask myself this question. In which times table can we find the numerator and the denominator? One of you might say, in the 2 times table. Yeah, both of them are even numbers. We agreed that even numbers are divisible by 2. Yes. And another person might say that I can divide both of them by 4. Yeah, both of you are right. You can divide by 2, you can divide by 4. It's always better to choose the biggest number that you can reach, the biggest factor. So it's better to divide here by 4, but I'm going to choose to divide by 2. Let's just imagine that there is a person who decided to divide by 2. Let's do this. I'm going to divide 16 by 2 and divide 40 by 2. 16 divided by 2 is 8. 40 divided by 2 is 20. Is this the simplest form? I need to ask myself, in which times table can I find 8 and 20? Okay, there is a times table. Actually, it can be also 2. I can divide both of them by 2. And one of you might say, I can divide both of them by 4. Yes, I can divide the 8 by 4 and the 20 by 4. And this time I'm going to choose the biggest number, the greatest factor. So I'm going to divide this by 4 and divide this by 4. Equals 2 over 5. Another person would have just chosen to divide by 8 from the beginning. So if I choose to have here the same question, which is 16 over 40, but I'm going to divide this by 8 and divide this by 8 because I noticed that 16 over 40, both of them are in the 8 times table. So I'm going to divide both of them by 8. 16 divided by 8 is 2, and 40 divided by 8 is 5. Wow, the same answer from the first step. Yes. So if you noticed that there are more than one factor that can help you simplify this fraction, always choose the greatest factor. All right, in question number 3, 24 and 36. Some of you might choose to divide both of them, the numerator and the denominator, by 2, and you're going to reach the final answer, the right answer in the end. Another person might choose to divide by 4, and it's going to be right. Another person might try dividing it by 8. And yes, and or even 6, you can divide by 6 and it's going to be right, but you will have to simplify more. And now, what if I try to divide by, oh, sorry, no, I thought this is 32. It cannot be divided by 8. So the greatest common factor that I found is dividing by 6. If I divide this by 6 and I divide this by 6, both of them are in the 6 times table. That's why I chose 6. Here it gives me 4, here it gives me 6. Alright, then here I still can divide. Why? Because this is not the greatest common factor that I chose. Maybe this was the greatest number that came to mind, but I still can simplify here. 4 over 6. In which times table can I find both of them? Yes, exactly. Both of them are in the 2 times table. So I'm going to divide this by 2 and divide this by 2, which will give me 2 over 3, which is the simplest form. Another person might choose to divide by 12. It's the first step. They just noticed that the greatest common factor here is 12. Then they decided to divide 24 by 12 and 36 also by 12. 24 by 12 is 2, 36 by 12 divided by 12 is 3. Gives me the same answer, but only one step. Question number 4, 35 divided by 50. We agreed today in class that any number that ends with 5 or 0 is divisible by 5. Very good. Here, both of them are this one here, 35, it's in the 5 times table. 50 is in the 5 times table. So 5 is the greatest common factor here in this question, and I'm going to use it to divide or to simplify this fraction. 35 divided by 5, 50 divided by 5. This is 7 over 10. This is the simplest form. 4 over 9, the last question. If I want to simplify 4 over 9, I have to ask myself, don't forget to ask yourself that question. In which times table can we find 4 and 9? Well, 4 is in the 2 times table, but 9 is not. 4 is in the 4 times table, but 9 is not. Well, I cannot find both of them in any times table. So, all what you need to write is just simplest form. That's it. It is already simplified. Thank you.